Welcome back to Reaper Pro Tips with me, your host, and Disembodied Hands, Quinty, Disembodied Beard, John, and Shadow Raven. Hello, hello. Hello, Kate, if you're new, welcome. I'm Anne, I work for Reaper Miniatures. I have for like 20 years. I got hired as their staff painter back in 2003 and designed their paint line for them over the succeeding 17 years before I moved out here and just started streaming for them full-time. Or not full-time, part-time. Sorry, sleep. It's optional, apparently. My brain wanted to wake me up in the middle of the night last night, and I'm still trying to recover. But yes. He can still be a disembodied beard. He's just extra disembodied. Is it only Quinty then? Like, is poor Quinty, like, having the weight of all of this, all of us, placed in her hands? Like, poor girl. I mean, seriously. Not like John's normal attitude toward us isn't benevolent neglect. It keeps orchids alive, but not much else. But, Yes, extra disembodied. It's not really that unusual. That's what I thought. Yes. Like I said, benevolent neglect. Yes. Hey, if I can't, after this many years, like, okay, that's a good question, Quinty. How many years ago did I start doing this with the original toolbox? How many years ago did I start streaming for Reaper? I'm curious now. It's got to be like 6-ish? 5 to 6? That's what I'm guessing. Yeah, the booth at Adepticon usually it does look pretty cool. Adepticon's a good venue for us. I mean, it's still full of gamers, but we get a slightly different crowd than like when we used to go to Gen Con and stuff, and it's much smaller, more affordable. Hi there, Kiki. Are you here to say hello to the stream early? Will you say hello to the stream? Will you say hi? Come on. She's like, no, I'm shy. I'm just going to hide my head behind the screen and ask Mama to pet me from here. Baba, come here. Baba. Yay, Baba. Yay. It was a good Baba. Yay. I've got a Kiki in my lap. She just doesn't want to hop up to say hi. Yeah, she doesn't want to hop. No hopping, Kiki, this morning. No hopping. Just getting ear scritches. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah. You don't want to tell them, you don't want to show them what a monster dog you are? You pick him up. You wanna? Okay. Good girl. Yay. Yeah, you can take over my spot. Good girl. Good girl, Keeks. Yeah. Yeah. That's my girl. That's my pretty girl. Good girl. Yeah, you're so good. Okay, you can get off. Good girl. Yay. There, y'all. You got your Kiki visitation. You have your pupper. You've got a standing Kiki. You've got a Nova Kodiak. And she's pretty, too. Alrighty. Let's see here. What am I doing? I don't know. We're painting. And I wanted to work on the reds first while I thought about the other stuff. I'm probably going to do very standard work on the book because it's just, I don't have a lot of inspiration for it. When you don't have inspiration for it and you just want to do like something standard, just do it. Do it. Don't like stop yourself and say, oh, I have to come up with a great idea for this book, because that's a sure recipe to never finish the model. Ask me how I know. Hey, Valthorn, not a whole lot. You missed Kiki. I mean, if you missed my dog, who actually came up to say hello today. But other than that, hey, Rascal. Playlist says 4 years? That's gotta be more than that. I started streaming before 2020. Because 2020 is when I was getting ready to move out to David, and I was already doing Toolbox. Because this would be Toolbox and not, like, Pro Tips, right? I can believe Pro Tips started in 2020. But I was doing Toolbox before that. Oh. I see. Right. Yeah, I think 5. 5 sounds right. I was suspicious whether I was getting close to my 6th. I wish we had the date of that first one. Yep. When you get stuck, throw paint on the mini and go from there, Kodiak. If you get an idea later, the great thing about acrylics is you can always paint over it. And it's only a little bit of extra work. It isn't Slayer for everybody, but it is for some people. Cause like I was talking about yesterday, when I came to work for Reaper, we were talking about painting prima donnas. There were people in those days who were doing commission painting for companies, but they were very particular about what they wanted to paint. And I kind of came to I started out as one of them, and then I kind of came to call them in my head painting prima donnas, because at Reaper, I just painted what they put on my desk, no matter how uninspired I was, and I had to do that. That was work, right? So what you do in that situation, if you're successful, if you're not just the type who can disconnect and muscle through, and a couple of people can do that, but I can't. What I had to do is I had to find something I liked about every model I worked on. And once I set about doing that, I could enjoy painting anything. Because no matter what it was, I could enjoy the color scheme, I could enjoy the face, I could enjoy, the sculpting of the whatever, I could enjoy that it had a little fun detail on it. I could put it on a cool base and make a cool environment for it so it inspired me more. All those kind of things. So remember that motivation or inspiration is an interesting beast. It's not just, I'm inspired to paint this out of nowhere. A lot of people think it is, but it's not. The fact is that it's mindset. You can train your brain to be inspired whenever you sit down to paint. Just like as a writer, I can train myself to sit down, put my headphones on, but it's not forcing. It's not forcing. See, this is the thing. It's triggers. You're doing a trigger habit is what you're doing. I didn't realize this till much later. But when you sit down and you let yourself think about, instead of thinking about like, oh, I really have no idea for this book in a negative manner, I can sit down and think, well, I get to paint a book today. I like painting books. It's fun, right? It's true. I do like painting books. Sometimes, though, on this stream, I feel an extra bit of pressure to perform or do something really, really good, right? Something really like that we haven't done before. But if I take that pressure away and I just let myself say, hey, I get to paint a book today, then it turns into great. Then it turns into awesome. So the thing is finding the thing about the model. Like, it's not like you should sit down and make yourself paint stuff that you're not inspired to do all the time. But, like, just because you're not feeling inspired doesn't mean you can't make progress on the model and enjoy the process. That's where I think we lose it. We think inspiration equals enjoyment and vice versa. Like, to enjoy the model, to enjoy painting, we need to be inspired. And that's not true at all. Toolbox and it says 4 years. Huh. Interesting. Oh, you got it. Okay, yay! So we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary. Thank you so much. Yeah, forcing positivity, I believe, doesn't, like, it works and it doesn't work, okay? Because the thing is, okay, you're forcing yourself to be positive, but you're not really dealing with the things in your brain that gave you the negative mindset in the first place. Like, sometimes forcing positivity, if your fears are unfounded or if it's anxiety that's just coming out of nowhere and you're not sure where it is, sometimes forcing positivity really works in those arenas. But I'm of the thought, I actually agree with some psychologists who say, well, we've all kind of got a dark side, and sometimes that dark side wants stuff that isn't good for us or stuff that, we aren't proud of. And the best thing you can do is to figure those things out and just accept them and then move on. And that takes work. So forcing positivity doesn't make you examine like the anxiety that you might have about sitting down to paint. Forcing positivity just like gets you kind of past it by skating over the top, but it doesn't address the root of why you might be anxious, which might be that you were really hyper-criticized by a teacher when you were a kid when you were doing art. And without identifying that and seeing that little you is still there in the back of your subconscious mind and like saying, hey, little you know what? I get it. But I also really love you and it's all good and we're going to paint and have fun. And until you get to that point, I feel like you can only go so far with forcing positivity. Yes, you can convince your brain, okay, we're going to do this and we get psyched about it. But it doesn't deal with if you have some underlying stuff, it doesn't deal with that. So I feel like both are useful, but it depends on like the specific instance you're dealing with and who you are and, what your brain's like. I usually will go with bone colors, Valthorn. And it depends on how old the book is. So, like, I use creamy ivory a lot for highlighting. But as far as actual, like, underlying, I used to use, oh, dearie me. I used to use stained ivory, which was the shadow for that triad, but they canceled it. So now I would say mixing driftwood brown or shield brown into your creamy ivory would be my standard go-to. But on an old book, you get much more reddish marks. They're called foxing. They're actually deterioration. They're marks in aging paper. I think they're caused by parasites, actually. But so if you want to do a very old book, I don't have an example. We've done it in the past on the streams, but I don't have an example immediately here. But then you introduce more like reddish brown discoloration all around the outside. That's more of a fine technique. But if you're just trying to paint a book, creamy ivory, I would say, is my go-to, and mix shield brown in for shadows. You could do it, Rascal. It might look a little unnatural because skeleton bone is very greenish. So I would do that if I was like painting a necromancer. And you still need to have a much darker shadow, as you can see. You can't just put the white on the pages or it doesn't look right. You don't see, like, it doesn't look real, like three-dimensional like a book. It'll just look flat. So you'll still need to find a color to mix in to create the shadow for that. Yeah, so what did you say, June 24th? That's easy for me to remember because it's 3 days after, June 19th, 2 days before my birthday. Okay, so it's 2 days before my birthday. So we can do a combination 5-year and streaming Anne's birthday thing on the 19th. Because I'm not working the 21st. Although actually, I'm gonna be out of town for some of that. Hold on. Let me see if I actually added this to my schedule. I didn't, but we're going for Shakespeare. I think it's the week before, though. I think it's like the 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th. So we should be okay. The 19th is a Wednesday. Ooh, my birthday's on a Friday. I am totally taking that day off. Absolutely. But on Wednesday, maybe we have a fun celebration on June 19th. What do you think, Quinny? Think we should start bugging people about that? We can give away gift codes. I agree with that. David is working his, and I looked at him like he was insane and went, "Why didn't you take it off?" I think he's one of those people who hates getting older, and so he's of the school to stop celebrating, and I'm like, no. Yeah, tell them it's the 5th year anniversary of my streaming for Reaper coming up, and it's right there by my birthday, so we want to do something super, super fun. Yes. You can sing as loud as you want to. Yes, and you all have to sing instead of me singing for once. Exactly. All right, let's get actually some paint mixed up here, okay? Well, yeah. Inspiration Chopper. Yep. Yeah, and it's all like how picky you are and that kind of thing, but see, for me, a birthday, I don't care. Like, I'm aiming to get to 100, so for me, I'm like, all right, I'm a little bit after the halfway point. I've still got a lot of good years left, and I'm psyched. But for me, it's always just an opportunity to just celebrate, take a day off, do some self-care, which we all need to do a lot of more often. But fishing sounds like great self-care there. I used to fish when I was a kid. I really loved it, actually. I found it was really fun and relaxing. Well, no, I won't, but your family will. Your dog might cover her ears if you're being real about me regretting it. Screw genetics. I'm all for the nurture over nature. If they say that stuff is 40% genetics, that still gives me 60% to work with. I'm good with that. But yes. Yeah, I just believe that birthdays are time to actually celebrate ourselves and to give ourselves a little of the care that we tend to otherwise run roughshod over a lot of the year, because we have so much going on and we're doing so much for us, for other people, and we sometimes forget that we need to do things for ourselves. So let's do this red. I think I was using blood red or heraldic red. Looks like it anyway. If I had to guess, where's my blood? Blood, where are you? That sounds bad. There we go, blood red. So yeah, that's my birthday philosophy. It's like, I'm just gonna still be celebrating happily when I'm older, just because, even though it's sad to me, you know, even though it is, you're getting older and, you know, you have, you know, limited time left, but at the same time, I like celebrating while I can, so there's always something I can be happy about. That's where positivity comes in for me. Positivity comes in where I always have something to be grateful for. Like, they say gratitude can sound pretty hokey for a lot of people, but I believe, like, for me that works really well. Like just having that day to just, you know, find something, like, there's always something I can be happy about. There's always something. This morning, it was that my pants were looser. Which is a very, 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 you know, self-oriented gratitude, but I'll take it. Oh no, I made the mistake of finding a really good serial fiction on Royal Road yesterday, and I woke up in the middle of the night with thinking about that. And I was like, no, I knew I should have. Normally when I do that, I don't let myself read like 2 or 3 hours before bed. I know I have to get my brain out of the fiction. You dream of that, Jimmy. I started lifting weights. I started doing CrossFit, Jimmy. Last year, right after my birthday, I decided to do it because I wanted to get more fit. And now that I've got some muscle built, I'm finding it easier to lose some more weight, which is really a relief to me because I was stuck for so long. All right, let's get this mixed up. I'm gonna mix some highlights for it. We could go warmer here. This is an opportunity to go orange with our highlights. Since she's painted blue, putting orange in our highlights gives us a complementary color. We already have a bit of orangey color on her hair, so I think I'm gonna go orange for the highlights on this red. The easiest way to get there is just to take a nice saturated orange and mix it into the red. I could start with a darker orange, but often I like to just mix in sunrise orange or do a mix of like clear red and sunrise orange. Because blood red does have some blue in it already, so it's going to mute it out a little bit if I try to just mix that. Oh, I wanted to say, whoever was talking about, I think it was Crows who was talking about mixing Volcano Brown and Maggot White. What you're doing there is the magenta pigment in Volcano Brown is mixing with the green in Maggot White and losing it entirely. What it'll do is give a real subtle bluish shift, but since it's a brown, by using those colors together, it's going to be muted. It's going to mute it out more because you're turning the green and magenta to blue, which then is complementary to the brown, which means that the whole color is going to gray out as you add it. So depending on what you're looking for, you're going to lose the green entirely though, because there's purple, there's magenta in the Volcano Brown. And magenta plus phthalocyanine green cancel each other out. Yeah, Jimmy, it's good to see you. I hope you've been well and having fun online. There's my clear red, which of course is the eyeball screaming, super saturated, nothing but red. I could just use that for a highlight, but I like to put a little bit of orange in it. Hold on. Oh, you work out each week. Nice. Yeah, but you've got a baby. Oh my God. Yeah, the panic eating. No, I hear you. Yeah, grats on the baby. Do you know whether it's a boy or a girl, or do you like to be surprised? I'm just going to use it's actually 1 drop. I squeezed it off a little bit early there. But yeah, I get the stress. Stress eating was my biggest battle, and it's still somewhat is. I'm getting a lot more mindful about it, though. I've been working on that pretty hard. The last several months, it's been my goal to get more mindful about my eating. And it's working. It's working to the point where today, when I stress ate, I stress ate a cookie with my breakfast before my breakfast. But I knew what I was doing. Like it wasn't fog eating or storm eating. It actually was, I am stress eating this cookie. I'm well aware that I'm doing it, but I'm going to choose to do it anyway. And that's progress. That is progress. Because I could have chosen not to do it. There was a moment where I was like, but then I was like, no, damn it. I'm really annoyed about today. But that's good, because that means in the future, I will be able to put the brakes on if I wish. But the fact that I'm losing weight pretty much eating, I can cheat like that and not really impact it, it seems. So that's really cool. You like the surprise, good. Calling it Brutus already. If it's a girl, you better not call her Brutus. She'd have to be Brunetta. You'd have to change the name. You wouldn't really. Okay. Yeah, power naps, for sure. I'm into the power naps, and I don't even have kids. All I had was puppy. And the puppy is now happily about 80% to dog mark, so she's becoming a lot more sedate and easy to work with. Oof. Romulus and Remus, yes. Brunhilde, yes, right. Yeah, I was going to say, I knew you had another one because you used to stream with the babe, as I recall. And they are energy vampires, for sure. Yep. I have not had any, but I've had plenty of friends who had them, and I watched their energy just pretty much drain out. And the lack of sleep would have killed me, like, because I'm so sensitive to, like, not good sleep. Oh, you emailed me the link for the discontinued paint stuff. Oh, okay, thanks, Trash, thanks. Yeah. It's kind of a loaded gun for me, Trash, because it's like, if I get the paint, I want to use it. I want to use it on stream, but then I shouldn't use it on stream because it's canceled. Still thank you, because you never know, I might give in. Can't remember if there was a color David really liked that was canceled. I'll check in with him. All right, so we've got these guys. And I can always do a quick mix of these two if I need to. I mean, my puppy was enough of an energy vampire. I don't think I could, like, actually do a small human. It lasts much longer. Then I would have, if I had done that, I would have ended up working out because I desperately needed energy for the small human instead of working out because I wanted my puppy not to dislocate my back when she pulled on the leash. Oh, good. Phthalo green. Yes, that I would order. Although, yes, I think I would because I like the Reaper pigments. So there you go, guys. If you want the phthalo green, get on it and chip into the order with and there's all sorts of other colors I'm sure if you think about it, you might want one of, so I'm just going to put a little bit of orange right at the top here. I'm going to get close here. See this the little orange highlight that I'm putting right up at the top of this little thing? It's just going to make it stand out just a little bit there. Aw, Jimmy, thank you. You know that makes me the happiest Anne in existence when you say that. Though, I use, I also like Scale Color Artists, the tube paint, and I also like Chimera Colors, but for very different things. Because, I still find that as far as, layering, blending layering and getting, your paint, really thin and needing it to be translucent, I still find that our stuff is better. It's got to be the base they're using. They've all got to be using those bases that are more high coverage resin. They aren't willing to throw it over and try something unconventional. And for that reason, when I'm doing layering and I need a smooth blend, which I'm going to be painting for Golden Demon. My GW order comes today, guys. And I'm going to need that smooth blending, right? I don't know how people do it with other paint lines. Like, you have to thin so much, and even then I find that it's a battle. Super, Jimmy. Yay, you make me so happy. Thank you. All right, so let's put some of this orange here on this little feather too. But yeah, and I understand there's plenty of people like Marika Reimer when she was still painting. She was like, but I really like the other paint because it's thick and I do wet blending. And I'm like, that's fair. That's cool. So there are styles of painting and painters that are just not going to get as much out of Master Series. That's fine. It is what it is. But if you like to blend and you cannot lie, and you use layering to do it, and glazing, then I find like MSP still the easiest one to use. So it's not that I can't do it with other paint lines, but I almost always have to start with a wet blend, and there's just some pigments I'm just like, I'm switching to Master Series. The base is actually mayonnaise, right? Right. Well, that's just it, right? Those paints, especially, because some of the pigments there, since they're pure pigments, the only coverage you can get is between the pigment and the base. And so if your pigment doesn't have coverage, you have to either mark it as a transparent, which they have done on some bottles, or you must try to use the highest coverage base that you can, which is really, I think they did that pretty much in every case, like you say, Trash, because they wanted some coverage, but they were still forced to mark bottles as transparent because there's base counts for maybe like 10 or 15% at most. Like, and usually what it is, as you pointed out, is it's thick, right? You can use like a thickener to make the paint cover better out of the bottle, but the minute you add water to it, that just goes to pieces. Plus, then you're dealing with an additive to the paint that maybe you didn't want anyway, that you're having to fight to get it to the consistency you want. That said, Chimera gets my vote for putting out non-mummy mummy brown. Like, I will never say bad against them because they do put out non-mummy mummy brown, and I can't say anything bad against Scale Color because they put out the best burnt umber in the world. I bought an extra tube even though I'm not at all done with my tube just because I always want to have that color at hand. I'm thinking of doing the same thing with Crimson because nobody else puts out a Queen of Red. And I don't want to have to deal with like an artist tube paint company if I want a Queen of Credone Red. And if you wonder about all this, I did a PDF on reds. You should go read it. On the Patreon. It was a while ago, but it would be $5 tier, I think. But yeah, pure white for life, absolutely, absolutely. So my $10 PDF is taking a lot longer, guys, because I'm having to paint models for it, models plural, and you know I'm not a fast painter, even though these are very basic, because I have to show you like the different ways to start. So I'm having to do a model in like Brunel, and I'm having to do a model, and I might be able to find examples of my old stuff, but in some ways I think it's better to just do the same model. I had some board game models, and I had like 4 crystal golems from Bard Song, so I decided to use them to show some of these base coat options. But it's taking a while, so expected not till like Friday or Saturday probably. Yes, how to start PDF. So it's interesting PDF because it doesn't cover primer, except it touches on a little bit about different ways to start, like work better with different primers in some cases. But like, so this covers things like the base coat everything and the painting in sections like I do. But it also covers stuff like Grisaille and Brunel underpainting, starting with a shaded base coat, like James Wapple used to teach at ReaperCon, doing colored underpainting, like a colored sketch and regular sketch, black and white sketch. So it has actually some pretty esoteric stuff in it, and it definitely needs examples. Shaded base coat is an odd bugger because it works better with oils probably. But you can do it with acrylics. And I remember James teaching it and some of you showing me your examples that you got from that class. What shaded base coat does is it gets you past the fear of putting the base coat on fast. Like it's really just smooshing colors together on the model, like quickly to get everything down. And you can still adjust it and you know, change stuff and highlight and shade and sharpen it, but it gets you past that first fear point pretty quickly, and it can set up stuff very quickly. It's not a technique I use because I love precision. You all know how anal I am, so... He does, yeah. I find when I look at his stream trash, it's more often that he's starting with the darks and wiping off the excess. Whereas with acrylics, of course, you're not really doing the wipe off. And you're starting the models that you're still starting like dark, but it's just a little different. At least the ones that I saw him do at ReaperCon were a little bit different than the ones that I saw him do on his stream recently. Where he's starting with kind of he's mixing the browns and blues, and he's making like a nice dark tone to hit everything. Then he wipes everything off. Then he comes back in and starts working his colors up, right? So that's a dark shaded base. I'm thinking more about his mid shaded base, but I'm going to talk about the dark as well. You could maybe do it. You'd have to like base coat your thing and then wipe it off right away. In reality, though, the way that what James is doing is essentially setting himself up like he's doing sketch in a weird kind of way, but not with the precision. Like he's doing blended sketch weirdly, because that's what sketch does. A sketch starts with a black undercoat. Sometimes we'll do a white zenith overspray, but then we'll go in with white and black and define areas and bring out texture and stuff, right? So that then you just have to glaze colors over it and you're done. So, but what all of these things have in common is that dark base, so that the deepest crevices in the model are filled in with a dark value. You know, you prefer not to do it with black, which is why James mixes his tone. It gives you a much more lively result. It's much more pleasing than using just straight black. Oh, okay. Sweet, Twistoma. Excellent. All right, so we've got some more orange on there. That brings it up warmer, brings us closer to the hair. It gets us more in common with that. This little cord, actually, I think I did, yeah, that was in brown. But I wanted to do red on these little square insets, so we're going to do that. But yeah, so the key here, though, is that you're knocking a lot of time off of your paint job by making sure you're putting that dark value in all the crevices. It gives you a much darker style. And if you guys are on my Patreon, you can look at the dark style versus light style video I did with direct comparisons, because we own one of James' models, and where I kind of show what he's doing. Because James has to work fast. He's like a commission painter for like paying his mortgage. So between his YouTube and his his other income streams, he's always working, and he's always working on, he's always painting, and he has to do speed and good, like fast and good, right? So when you can create a nice complex dark and use that to block in a lot of the areas that nobody cares about anyway, it's a good way to get a leg up on your speed. Now you have to not care. Like if this were a Wapple model, he'd probably have a lot of this being really dark, and this would be really dark. And he wouldn't have probably gone in and done some of this. He would have brought up some of this, but maybe not as much of me, and this might stay black. Or black, right? Anyway, he's got a really interesting painting style, and if you haven't watched James paint, thank you, Quindy, for the shout-out. You should go over to his Wapelius channel, look at some of his VODs, or watch him in person. He's a great guy, and he's also just an amazing painter. Like, it's just, he was a canvas painter for years before he went to miniatures, and so he does stuff that not a lot of other miniature painters do. And he's really a pro. Like, he's so fast and he's so good. We all are just like, James is a freaking wizard, pretty much. Nobody can knock Wapple because if he ever started painting for competition, he'd come for us. Like, nobody else would ever have a chance. This is common knowledge when I bring this up at cons. It's like, oh yeah, if James ever decided he cared about competition, we'd all be dead. But he likes to paint the way he likes to paint. He's not a competitive guy, so but he is amazing. So you should go watch his stuff for sure. Yeah, I know. I always have to look up the freaking spelling as well. Wapple and Sergio? Interesting. I feel like Sergio is the higher maintenance version. Except that it would be weird because Wapple would be using oils and Sergio would be using acrylics and Sergio would be glazing with the airbrush and Wapple would just be doing magic. It's interesting. Yeah, it would be interesting. I don't know if I want to look at my own work that big, twisted but you can see all the flaws, that's for sure. So we've got those little red cutouts that I wanted, and that helps. Do you see how that helps kind of pull the red around? Because we've got the red here, we've got the little bit of red ribbon up here, and then we can pull the red around, and then the skin tone, of course, the rosy tones in it. That helps pull the eye. Your eye travels around the model. It hits all those little points and then it goes back up and around. And that's what you like to have as a painter. It's good to... It's a more advanced thing when you start thinking about how you're pulling the viewer's eye around the model and attracting attention to different parts of the model. But that's totally within our purview. It's something we can do as painters. It just tends to only get to you when you're hitting your intermediate stage. That's when you start thinking about that and understanding what color composition really means and value composition and in general, because that's what you do it with. You do it with color and value. And so a lot of the rules, quote unquote, the rules that I kind of teach you guys when I'm teaching color theory are meant to kind of get you on that road. When I talk about putting light colors and vibrant colors up top, and using darker tones or more neutral tones down low, that's what I'm trying to predispose you toward, is the thinking about, so that you'll be guiding the viewer's eye without even realizing it necessarily. Just make that part of your thinking. And then when you don't want to do that, when you've got a very complex model or diorama where you really want to attract the viewer to different points, you'll have that know-how. You'll have that thinking already. I'm just putting a little bit of orange highlight on that upper part of the ribbon. But yeah, so, and again, if you don't really care about that and you're not something you're into, then you don't have to do it. But I tend to teach it anyway because it's not best practice, but it's good practice. So even for people who don't really care about that, if I can kind of get them doing it by habit, then it's, they don't have to think about it. They can just execute. All right, I'm going to add a little white to my orange just to make a paler orange so I can really hit some spots to bring out these things. And then we'll work on our little scribbles on the page. There we go. All right, so here I'll show you my colors. Boop. Boop. There we go. So today I'm going to make use of a technique I always tell you guys about when you don't want to work on a model but you got to get it done. And that is, I'm going to totally put like my laptop in front of me at my painting desk and put my Overwatch League on, or my competitive Overwatch on, and I'm going to be listening to the play while I paint these models for my PDF. So that I can do two things at once. It'll distract me so that it's not pure drudgery. Like, this thing works. Like, you can do the same with a podcast or a movie you know really well. You just don't want to ever put up something you have to watch. David does this all the time. When he wants to get past the boring part of a model and into the good stuff, he just puts on a legal drama or some kind of show that he can just listen to that's mostly dialogue, and it'll make the time go by real quick, and he'll like get in the zone and work on his stuff. So but yeah, I have the writing done on the PDF for the most. That's what I was finishing up yesterday. But now I need to get the examples done. All right, so just a little bit of orange. Let's go back to here. I want to make that little thing stand out. A little bit of those tops of those feathers stand out. Yeah, the biggest thing with the weight loss, I think, is my macros. I switched them up. I was so used to being keto and low carb, but I was having real trouble dropping more weight, and it was just that there comes a point, I think, where the body's just storing the extra fat instead of using it when you're not actually keto. So I dropped my fat content down to like 40-45%, and my carbs at 25%, and my protein at 30 to 35. Up my protein a lot, actually. And that seems to be working. Like, it's almost like magic. As long as I stay within, like, I worked up my calorie count to about 1,800 a day, which is pretty generous for what I eat. And it seems to be working. Like, at least my clothes feel like they're looser. So something's working. Oh, some of the gummies were sculpted by Bobby Jackson. That's freaking awesome, Trashorama. Okay, give us the name of that Kickstarter, guys. We need gummies sculpted by Bobby Jackson. We need this product. How could we not know about this product? There we go. Got more of a highlight, more so I can see things. Gummy Quest. Gummy Quest! Oh my god. Alright, clicking on link. Gonna look at it later. Oh my god. I must... Oh, look at the dragons! Oh, is Kuro on this stream? Oh my god. Holy crap. 28 days to go, and it's already at $80,000. Nice. Okay, this just looks too awesome not to buy. Sadly, gummies are full of, like, the thing I react to, usually. Glycerol, or, you know, the polyols that get me. But, oh my god. This looks so cool. Owlberry. Oh my god! Oh my god! Tangy troll fruit. Ah, this is so good! Okay, everybody go look at this Kickstarter. I swear it. You can stop watching me painting, but the puns are amazing. You've got to go. Thank you, Trashorama. You have made my freaking day. Made my freaking day. Oh, yeah. Yes, definitely. Tell her gummy dragons. Green users is like, darn you. But it's so cool. It's so cool. But yeah, I wouldn't be able to eat them. I realized when I tried to eat fiber gummies that the fructose that tends to be in them like is a huge upset to my gut. I'm so sad because I would buy those in an instant if I could eat them. And replacing them with gummies, Valthorn? Oh, lordy. Valthorn, considering that Siocast is if that's the Bones USA, the Siocast and 3D printing minis are going over well. I would not be surprised to see Reaper scale back the metal because, as you point out, it's so expensive now. And Reaper's goal, from the time when Ed used to talk to me about Reaper's creation, like the beginning founding of Reaper, the goal was always to make the hobby financially accessible. And right now, metal models are not really financially accessible. Like, considering what you can do with, much less... Like, I pay as much now for a Siocast model as I used to pay for a metal model back in, like, freaking post-college. Or, like, at the time I started 20 years ago. And the quality is just as good. Like, if not better, because there's no heat pitting and stuff. Yeah, the Ed Tribute was the last sculpt produced in metal. Thanks, Quindy, for answering that. It's just so expensive. That's been a thing. We've like, there have been factors at Reaper that wanted to figure that out for a while. But the problem is, we wouldn't be able to do it at Reaper. Trash. Like, you need to have, because chocolate is a foodstuff, you have to have molds that are, approved. You have to have clean working conditions. It becomes a food production facility then, and you've got to pass health codes for that. So that's the problem. That was always what Ed brought up. He's just like, we can't do it because blah. But now, Reaper has all that extra acreage. So I say, put up a chocolate tent and let's go. Yeah, the quality is really, really good. Oh, Green Users is broken. You wanted to do chocolate, didn't you, Green Users? You want to do a chocolate? We should do a chocolate bunny dragon. For Easter. Next Easter, let's aim for it. Chocolate bunny dragon has to be. Yeah, you could paint the gummies the dragons. Pizza Dungeon is food safe. Chocolate tent. Except you really wouldn't be able to do a chocolate tent because if Great British Baking Show has taught me nothing else, it's that the minute you go to do chocolate, the weather will get so hot that everything will melt. Green User's keyboard is completely stuck. We have broken Jolie with the mention of chocolate dragons. Oh, the Bones USA. If you haven't tried one, you need to try one, Valthorn. It's not old bones. It's an old bone. It's a totally different material. It's a totally different casting process. It's a totally different everything. Look up Siocast. Siocast. That's what Bones USA is. And 3D prints, I think, also are falling into that. Oh, yeah. It won't deliver by ReaperCon. That is too bad. I just think we need a chocolate bunny dragon. How hard is it to make your own mold for a shaped chocolate? You probably have to use silicone. Food grade, food safe grade silicone. You have string gel all over your face. Julie, I love you. Oh my god. I just imagine you like desperately trying to type chocolate dragons into the chat with like strings of goo like flying all over your keyboard. Oh, lordy sakes. This is a good day. This is a good day, guys. This stream has made me just laugh for several times, and those are the best days. Those are the best days when I get on here and we all just like die over something. Like, I'm just like, yeah, that's perfect. I'm going to totally send David. Yeah, thanks for putting the link on my... Did you put it in off topic or somewhere else, Quindy, on my Discord? Because I want to send it to David. All right, it's just a little extra highlighting. Look how their feathers are much more crisp now. You can really see the edges. Now, one thing... Yes, it does Polaris art, but we won't get the gummies by ReaperCon. That's what Quindy just said. They don't ship till October. That makes sense, Val. I mean, I guess. I mean, they're just like, you can treat them just like metal. You can prime them. Paint them just like metal. They've got great detail. Oh, right, there's no Kathy. Oh, Shadow Raven, come on. You honestly don't think that one of us isn't going to pick up that torch and carry the hell out of it? Seriously? Quindy, we need to make this happen. We will dedicate it to Kathy. And the silliest gummy bear wins. Yeah, I was going to say they're still holding it. Like, if you think that somebody wouldn't carry that torch, who do you think we are? Right, Aaron. Yep. Yeah, Aaron has the right silliness quota. And Liz. Oh, Big Apple. That can be such a trial, though. Like, making arbitrary rules for yourself, unless it motivates you, okay? So this is the thing about that sort of thing. Some people, when they make that sort of rule, it motivates them. They're like, okay, I'm going to get that overboard done because I really want to work on this dragon. But for other people, it starts to feel like a big weight around your neck. And then it does the opposite thing. You don't paint because you're not enjoying it because you'd rather be working on something else. So question whether you need those rules. Question whether they're serving you. Because I would much rather have you stop painting a current project and put it away in a box, even several projects, to work on the thing you would really love to work on right now, than have you kind of stall out staring at that overboard for months and not really painting. I speak to you as one who has done this to herself, all right? But if it motivates you, okay. Just think about it. Because we do that. We assign arbitrary rules to our painting, to any of our fun stuff, right? Oh, I have to eat my vegetables before I eat my dessert. It's that kind of rule. But it doesn't always work for you. Like, it isn't always in your court. And I talked about this in the motivation PDF about how when I started living with David, how he would pick up a project, a really cool model, even a limited edition model, and he'd just fall out of love with it, and he'd just throw it away. Well, wouldn't throw it away, he'd put it on a shelf. It would sit there for years. Like, he has shelves full of models that he started that are amazing, that he just lost love for and put to the side. And Bryce would even carry it on without Aaron, yeah. With a pinky finger. Yeah. Because that's the thing. And because David does that, it's so freeing. Like, these rules, like, I'm like, oh, you mean I don't have to feel guilty about not finishing something? Even if it's a really nice model, even if I'm only ever going to get one to paint, even if XXYZ is ABC to infinity? No! You don't have to finish anything. You can, if it makes you happy to finish things, and the reason you're not finishing is like some sort of resistance or mental block, that's something different, right? But if you're just feeling guilty, if you're just making yourself eat your vegetables so you can eat that apple pie, eat the freaking pie. It's our hobby. Who cares? You can always go back to the overgourd. The overgourd ain't going nowhere. Nowhere, guys. It's all good. Yes, yep. Well, and I'm the same way, Big Apple. I can only keep 3 projects out in front of me at any given time or I feel overloaded. What I do is I pack them away in a box. I put a nice label on the box to let me know what the box is, what's in there. And I just write on the minis that I put in that box, and then I put the box away in the closet, and it goes out of my mind. Yeah, there were some really good gummy bear entries. Thanks, Slayer. I'm glad you liked that section. But yeah, it's like those are like that's one of the things that David does that I really admire him for, and I'm so thankful that he like is that way, because my silly like, you know, obsessive brain would never have come to that on its own. But seeing somebody who I think is even a better painter than I am in many ways, like, not be afraid to just chuck a mini if he's not inspired to work on it just because life is too freaking short. Like, he's right. Like, me, and I always had this, like, guilt factor. Like, I was, like, somebody was standing over my shoulder making me, like, finish everything I started, and then I would feel terrible forever because inevitably I would just, like, freeze and stop painting. And yeah, so with David's help, even though it's his passive help, he doesn't realize how much of an inspiration he is for me. But with his passive help, I am slowly working through those things. And now, if I don't want to work on it, I'm going to put it in a box with a nice label on the box, and I'm going to put it away. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Yeah, that's fair, Big Apple. As long as you're making progress. I like to bring this stuff up because there's always, even if you're like all cool, there's always somebody in the chat who's suffering from the same crap I did. I'm going to glaze with a red orange on this hair to bring some intensity to it, guys. So I like to bring up these caveats because there are so many people who like suffer from this whole thing where we are always taught as little kids that we have to finish what we start. And so we give ourselves horrible guilt about it. And it never occurs to us that there's nobody standing over our shoulder. We're the only person that matters here. And I hate seeing people lose their love of the hobby because they're like holding themselves to some standard that really doesn't matter anymore. So yeah. So it's cool with you, then it's cool with me. But if anybody's out there who suffers from the same crap I did, and do, I still have to fight this. Right, but a lot of and that's another thing, right? I fight with the whole if I paint it, it has to look to a certain standard of good, Shadow Raven, and I am trying actively with my Tyranids to move past that mindset. But this is all work I have to do on myself because this is all the hangups I had, guys, from the time I was a kid onward. So I pass them on to you just in case any of you are suffering from the same thing. That maybe it will help you get past it because. Oh, we do. David's not into shaming, so he's like, no, it's just a shelf of lost love or a closet of lost love. So I'm not permitted to say shelf of shame. I have to say closet of lost love because really we're not supposed to feel shameful about it. It's not supposed to be a bad thing. Oh, hi, Kiki. Well, I've got somebody who's snuggling here with me. She came up and pressed her head into me to get ear rubbins. She's so cute. You're the cutest little ba. Hi, little Bubba. Little Bubba. Yeah. Oh, getting so many patents. Oh, you really like this, huh? Good girl. Sorry, got distracted. Dog of distraction plus 20. Closet of partially painted things. Yep. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay to have a ton of unfinished stuff. You could have hundreds. Who cares? It's all right. It's your stuff. It's your hobby. Enjoy it. All right, I need to put an orange highlight onto these little, the light orange highlight onto these little guys down here, and then I think we'll move on to book. We have just enough time to put some scribbles in the book. See, David hates the word shame. He really does not believe it belongs in the hobby. Like, you should do what makes you happy in the hobby, and it doesn't matter. Expectations, put them out the window. Just paint and enjoy. And whatever that looks like to you, just execute on that. So yeah, I'm not we can't use the word shame in here anymore. I'm not permitted. It's not the mindset we want in this house. All right, good. All right, let's do scribbles. They're called dark elves. Why should I do more than prime them? Oh, funny. Yes, there's no unpainted mini police out there. Yes! That is so true. Yes, exactly. Box's pile of opportunity. Yeah. The pile of opportunity is a great word, a great expression for it. I'll share that one with David tonight. The pile of opportunity. Oh, we need to do eyeballs too. Dang it. All right. Well, I need some of the same colors, so I'll mix up my walnut brown plus brown liner because I need that for the writing, and I also need that to fill in her eyes. So let's do that. But yeah. It's just, we make a lot of, like, we work under a lot of assumptions and kind of, like, mental rules that we often aren't even aware of because we've just had them as assumptions since we were little or earlier in life. And so they worked for us at one time, so we don't question them. But sometimes we do need to stop and question it and say, where's this coming from? And does it really serve me? Really? My writing coach says, question the premise. Whenever anybody feeds you a line, you should always question whether it's true for you. And she is a wise lady. All right, so I've got a half and half of walnut brown plus brown liner. The walnut for coverage, the brown liner for fluidity. I just like to do kind of a mashup of those two. Yeah, pile of potential is great. Box of opportunity, pile of potential, doesn't matter. But alliteration is wonderful, so I'm on board for that. Oh, I've totally forgotten to drink my tea again. I didn't get a chance. Thank God for double-walled containers, guys, because it's still hot. Oh, dearie. I need to eat a smaller lunch because I ate that cookie this morning. It's the Earl Grey with vanilla creamer in it. I really like it for the morning. I get on kicks. Sometimes I like there's a great vanilla rooibos that I have that I just like the vanilla. Just give me more vanilla. And sometimes I'll do chai. And I have a chocolate rooibos that tastes like hot chocolate. Like it's hot chocolate in tea form. Like when I need a 0 calorie or close hot chocolate, I just drink one of those. Although now I can make myself chocolate protein shakes that are really killer, but they do have more calories. So, but yeah. So it depends. It depends on my mood. But lately I've been on that Earl Grey with vanilla kick. I really enjoy it. I'm trying to kind of drink through my decaf so that I can go to all non-caffeinated tea. I've got some really good loose leaf rooibos tea that I've been holding off on until I finish the decaffeinated like Earl Grey that I have, and I had some other decaf stuff too. The chocolate, it's a chocolate rooibos, and rooibos is one of those non-caffeinated tea things, and it's by Numi, Numi. And it's chocolate rooibos. And when you brew it and put just a little bit of sweetener into it and a little bit of creamer or whatever you want to use, it's a really good hot chocolate substitute. Like if you're looking for hot chocolate without all the calories, I use a little bit of like my stevia and monk fruit. I use a packet of that and then a little bit of like real sweetened creamer, my vanilla creamer in it. Swear to God, like if I want a hot chocolate, that hits the spot. It's that chocolatey. You could always add a little bit of extra hot chocolate mix into it if you really wanted to power it up, but that would add more calories, so it's up to you. But I find that I find that it really hits if I want chocolate, if I want that flavor, but I don't want the calories, I find that that's a good alternate. All right, eyeballs. I don't know if I'm good enough for eyeballs today, but these were not filled in very well, so I'm at least going to do that. Then we'll do the lettering on the book, and based on how good the lettering on the book goes, how well it goes, I'll either come back and do the eyeballs or put it off. Which is something to mention. Like, if you can sense that your brush control is not really good on any given day, Don't make yourself do things like eyes. You're just asking for frustration. I can sense today, just from what I've been painting so far, that my control is not as fine today. Probably because I woke up in the middle of the night and couldn't get back to sleep, so my sleep is not, like, exactly awesome today. And that can totally affect your muscle coordination, so... Notice that I am, like, moving the model around instead of my brush hand to try to get this eye filled in. Yeah, I try not to use pure stevia. I use the whole earth stevia and monk fruit packets because actually stevia can get a, like, chocolate for some reason can bring out kind of the off taste of stevia. So I'll use the blend, and the blend seems not to have that problem. There we go. Got the other eye. So now the eyes are nice and solid. That's good. Yeah, that's why, I mean, I had to drop the caffeine. Oh, you're thinking it looks like it doesn't include the dragon mold. Oh, wait. I'm missing out on chocolate dragon, like, things. Used them to make chocolate bears. WoW got on board with the Battle Royale mode. Yeah, David was looking at it. David was looking at that the other day, Trashorama. He was thinking he was going to play a goblin. He thought pirate... Is it the pirate one? Because the pirate goblins look pretty awesome. I thought the pirate little fox people looked awesome, but that's me. Gummy creator kit. I see. Molds to make your own. I bet you could do it, Quindy, because if it's silicone molds, which it probably is, that's fine for chocolate, and you already know they're food grade. Thanks for... Okay, no thanks for drawing my attention to that. Now I want to do it. Numi Chocolate Rooibos. So that's, I think it's a double O-I. 1 second. Easy to find. Yeah, it's double O-I. Hold on, I got it. Got it in a second. Yep. Because I ordered it off at Amazon. Organic chocolate rooibos tea. 16 tea bags. This is a pack of 3 boxes, so you get a lot. Numi chocolate rooibos. So R-O-O-I-B-O-S. Oh, it's got honeybush in it too. Cool. That explains the kind of underlying sweetness. Yeah, cocoa, honeybush, and vanilla. Yum. Yeah, it's tasty. Give it a try. You're welcome, and I'm sorry. As all of us hit $165, take my money. Green users is like, oh no! You know you want to, Julie. You know you want to. Make us the chocolate dragon of our dreams, Julie. I'm totally not helping. Oh, Lord. Don't have to be silicone. One-up plastic. One-use plastic. Prep the molds, they actually come out. Yeah, I think that's why I think the silicone is better, just because, again, all my knowledge comes from the Great British Baking Show. But they usually, when they have shapes that they need to get out intact, like rounded shapes, they seem to use silicone. All right, let's do some book things. Should we do a J? A J like it's her diary? A fancy J? So you want to have paint that, you want to have a brush with a really good tip. I'm actually going to go to my older Da Vinci because it's thinner and it's going to be better for precise stuff like this. Oh yeah, I'm sure there's tricks to it. I bet if we Google tricks to getting chocolate out of silicone molds, we'll find it. All right, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to make a big swooping J. And then some scribbles. That J looks more like a T, a cursive T, but I'm okay. So my paint, I think, is the right consistency. I just need to make sure my brush tip is really good. I make sure that I've got actually more paint than you would think of on your brush. I'm just going to leave that like a rune. I picked a J-shaped rune for her name because Jolie, but now we just put little marks. You want to chain them, and you want to make a kind of a series of dots and dotted lines, and you want to keep them more or less even on the page. Oh my god, green users, that's amazing. Food grade silicone molds, great. Thanks, Quindy. Alright, I got a little bit trailing off the page here, so I can correct that by bringing up a couple of long lines to put that back on the page. So really I'm just chaining groups of, and you want to make some like more upright and others drop if you want it to look like real letters. So let's get a little closer. But at this scale, writing is mostly going to look like that. So, and I could go much more tiny and put the lines closer together if I wanted, but I'm thinking more like a diary. So I'm just gonna, she's got a very fancy diary. She probably has spells written in there too. I mean, come on, let's just face it. Whenever I try to use a dedicated notebook, I end up using it for 3 things. And if I had a spell book, I would totally do the same thing. It would be a combination journal, spell book, like rant book about all the things I hated about wizard school, so. I'm gonna like just channel that for Jolie here. And don't worry if you screw up, because you can always take a little bit of your off-white and just touch it up a little bit. Yeah, let's not like a life-size moon. They could sculpt a smaller moon with a dragon in the place of the big, like, I always thought like that in some ways, if you look at it, the craters on the moon kind of look like a dragon anyway. Like there's a snaky part and kind of a wing, like you're looking at it from the side. Like you've got a moon dragon. Out of cheese. If I was doing a recipe, I'd have to bullet point it. And now we're getting to the bottom of the page. So I think I want to put in, I gotta put it past this bookmark for one thing. I have enough hypothetical room for another line, but I really feel like the page actually is going to be coming like this. So I'm going to kind of cut it off with a little bit of shading. So essentially the bottom of the page is a little uneven, so I just like cut it off right there. Now it's perfect. All right, other side. Yeah, the who's. Now we're getting way into whimsy. When Dr. Seuss enters the equation, we have passed the line into whimsy. I happen to enjoy whimsy, so I think we're okay. All right, let me see if I can stay on camera here. That was kind of a blorf, but you know what? A blorf can look like a word if you just extend it. There's really the only thing, like, I would say the most important thing with books, try to keep your marks similar, but if you blurf, it's not a big deal. And keep your lines as even as you can. And if you really blurf up, just make it a big ink blotch or something. Or a symbol. Hide it. Hide it in plain sight. I'm gonna rinse out. When your brush starts getting a little tacky, that's because the paint that you've got up in it is drying out slowly. You want to rinse it then, because you want to keep your paint very fluid for this technique. So I rinsed it out. I'm actually going to just squeeze the water out until most of it is out, but I've still got some moisture in the brush. I can see that moisture. See it shine? Right, so that's going to help keep my paint wetter. So that means I'm going to have to unload the paint a little bit more. And you can test this on your palette. Can you make a thin, dark line? Yes, you can. Then you have the right consistency. Just remember to break it up here and there. I'm trying to keep these lines more or less even with lines on the other side of the book. So if you're shaking a little bit, it actually helps because you can give that vertical and, you know, kind of rough look that you'd have for upper and lowercase letters. So shaking's not a downside. Indragonation. It's a good word. Oh, so for those of you who like superhero stories, the story that I just got into reading on Royal Road is called Super Supportive, and it's the origin story of a kid who wants to be a support superhero and how he goes about trying to figure out how to do that in a world that is much more complicated than he originally thought it was. It's really well written. The characters are amazing. The prose is really good. It is a step above. This person ought to be just writing. They ought to be publishing books. But they like doing serial, so they're doing that, and they have a Patreon. I don't think she's an anomaly. He or she, they. The author's an anomaly because they actually only put up posts twice a week, which usually people will tell you, oh no, you have to put up more than that. But the story's so good, and they're on 100, chapter 100 something right now. So there's a fair amount to read because the chapters tend to be pretty long. But they're making $22,000 a month on their Patreon, and they deserve every penny. This is an amazing story. So yeah, if you look up Super Supportive, I forget the author's name because it's a one-word name and it's spelled weird, because Royal Road. But yeah, so it's a superhero story, but it's neat. Any of you who are looking for something to read, it is pretty addictive. I'll warn you about that. I really like it so far, though, and there is violence because combat support, but it's still pretty awesome. The characters and the story are good enough to keep me reading despite the violence. I can kind of gloss over the violence. Not the Patreon. Okay, so Patreoning a Royal Road person lets you read 20 chapters in advance. What you really want to do is read it on Royal Road, which actually on my phone app, it's not that bad. I have to wear my readers, but it's not bad. Read it on Royal Road, and then when you get to the end, sub, and you get another 20 chapters, or 10, or whatever they're doing. I forget what they'll tell you what they're doing on the Patreon. But if you just look at Super Supportive Royal Road, then it'll come up with their fiction, their serial fiction. And yeah, it's, as far as writing quality, it's 6 cuts above anything else I've read on there. It's really good. Yeah. So yeah, it's fun. Okay, Crowley, bye. Just don't do it, Twisto. We're good. We got you. It's okay. We got the sentiment. We understand. But yeah, being a support player myself, super and nobody ever writes about the superheroes that are like the support superheroes, right? They only want to write about like the combat superheroes. So it's an interesting idea. It's very, very cool, and the world is really neat so far. All right, cool. We have a book. And we don't have eyeballs. That's the last thing we don't have, and we don't have a base. So we need eyeballs and a base to go on our suggestion list next time. Actually, let me grab my bases and get one out. We'll be able to use a smaller base for her, which I like, because she has a very small footprint, literally. Find a Reaper base. There we are. One of these little rounded edge ones we'll be able to use. Ah, crap. It's just a one word. It's Sleika or something. Hold on, let me look. I've got the freaking book up on my thing. Yeah, Sleika. Super supportive. And as you can see, it's getting 5 stars on Royal Road with thousands of people following it. So it is that good. It actually is that good. Yeah, I'm just reading it right on Royal Road. It's like small text, but like I said, if I'm wearing reading glasses, it's no problem. She hasn't put the books up on Amazon as books. She hasn't published them as separate books. Or they. I get the feeling it's a girl, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's a guy. I keep saying she, though. I have to stop doing that. It's they. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It's really... Read the first, few chapters and see if you don't agree with me on the writing quality for Turgeon. Because anybody can read it on Royal Road. It's free. The way you make money on Royal Road is then starting a Patreon if you get a lot of followers, and then essentially, they pay you $10 a month to read ahead. But yeah, so highly recommended. Really enjoying it. Hopefully it doesn't get too violent, but if it does, I'll just skim over those parts and read the parts I like, so... Sweet. Alright, so yeah, guys, I think I'm going to call it there. I can easily fit her on this base. It's really big, actually, for her. She got such a tiny little base, so we'll have to figure out where I might want to put her as far as what kind of base. And I'll think about that. We'll see what we can do. Honestly, I like the Silk Almond Milk Vanilla Creamer. It's sweet, but if you just use a tablespoon, it's just 4 grams of carbs. It's not super sugary. There's also a good coconut variant if you don't like almond milk cream. Oh, sorry, it's an almond milk, Silk Almond Milk Creamer. There's a good coconut one by So Delicious as well that also has 4 grams of carbs, depending on if you want. I don't use dairy creamer, so. Yeah, I don't have stacks of books. That's the problem. Her old, if you look at the original painted version of this model by Marika, she did do stacks of books. Or Derek. I think Derek, did you do one? I don't know. I don't know if he's here today. Finger blurfs and all, it's true. Yeah, thanks for hanging out, everybody. This is a really fun stream. We did get a lot done, and she's really close. I really have to think about where I want to put her. I almost feel like she's, sitting there on campus taking notes, and she just saw a really hot wizard, walk by. And thus the... So maybe she's just standing around on campus, on the wizard campus at Mage School. You should be able to use anything on them, Valthorn, because they are just they're a plastic, but they're not PVC, so they shouldn't react to primers. I mean, I usually use the Games Workshop stuff just because I have it around, but you can use any brush-on primer as well, or anything you should be able to use. Yeah, right? Seriously? That's what I think. I think she just saw a totally hot wizard walk by. Or maybe a really hot extra dimensional being. You just never know at mage school, right? But yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So maybe we'll do something pretty innocuous. Maybe just kind of like a path, kind of like a dirt path or a gravel path with some nice edging with grass and stuff. Yep. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, thanks you. Yep, Yellow Water Deep. Thank you, everybody, for making us laugh, and for also Trash for posting about. Don't forget the out of print paints, guys. Just so you can go there and check that out. Kathy Wapple Memorial Paint and Pass live from Adepticon. Yeah! Okay, everybody, stick around for the raid. Big hearts, everybody. Big hearts. We remembered lots of good people today. Remembered Kathy, remembered Ed. No, we just fell off the couch. Oh, no! It's so funny when they do that. Let's go raiding, everybody! Is there a Happy Viking raiding song? Am I am I just like, while sleeping? Oh no, because they roll over and then they go, ah! So funny. It's so funny. It's like their head falls over the edge and then the rest of them follows. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Quindy, for riding herd on us as always. Tomorrow, we're actually, for Friday, we're back to our super awesome Sophie. Viking baby song. I knew there was Viking cats. I just didn't know if there was a happy Viking raiding song for the modern day. I think the Viking cats do work, though. So if you want to go and, get your Viking cats meme going on while we do this, that works. That works. I'm going to send David the gummy Kickstarter. All right, everybody. I love you all. Have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.